This series is where we modify the traditional Pong game by adding in multiple new features using Pygame. And in this video, let's add in paddle cloning elements and then finally add in the scoreboard followed by the end screen. Let's get into it. Here is the prompt of the final gadget. It has to be manually activated by the user, and it says immediately after activation, the paddle should clone itself, both being original and thus providing more area control. Logic is just drawing the second paddle and on top of the original paddle and then make movements normally and simultaneously, and whenever the gadget is activated, we separate them by, let's say, 200 pixels by just adding in 200 pixels, and then it provides us that paddle cloning effect. So let's take a look at the code implementation of how this works as well. We will have to make changes to the necessary sections, and we will start with the pedal's dimensions by creating the second paddle. And this time I'm going to have a prefix of second rather than having this to be dummy, because this time the paddle is actually not being dummy like the ball. So first I will copy this and paste it here, and then add the prefix second. And right around here as well. Like that. And I will also create velocities for the second paddle. What I will do is copy paste this and have second over here. Now we will get to the input section, and over here we will have to check if the up arrow key is being pressed, and if it is, then not only we should move the original paddle, we will also have to move the second paddle as well, which is on top of the original paddle. Second paddle well equal to 0.9, negative 0.9, like that. We will do that over here as well. Second right paddle velocity equal to 0.9. If the down arrow key is being pressed, we will do that over here as well. Now we should get to paddle's movement, which is right around here, and we just simply copy paste this. This is just making sure that the paddle doesn't go off the screen either by the top side or the bottom side. We will have to do that for the second paddle as well. So I'm just going to paste this and add the prefix second. Next we will have to get to paddle's collisions, and over here we can't just simply copy paste the collisions like this. Let me explain why. So the reason why we can't just copy paste the collisions for the second paddle is because, let's say if the ball is approaching towards the paddle, and remember that there is two paddles, one on top of the other, so if we define collisions for them both at the same time, then there is going to be two collisions happening. At the first collision, the ball would change the direction this way, but since there is another paddle on top of this, the direction is again going to change, and anyways the ball is just going to go off the screen, which is not actually what we want. And the way we correct this is by first checking if the positions of these two paddles are not equal. Let's say if they are separated like this, that is if the gadget is in action, then if the ball is approaching towards the top paddle, that's the primary paddle, then a collision would happen normally. And then if we define for the secondary paddle as well, then again a collision is going to happen normally. So that's the logic that we have to work on. Let's look at how that works. And hence we will have to first define the if condition to check if the second paddle velocity, actually the second paddle x or the second paddle y, is equal to the original paddle, which is the left paddle y. And if it is, then we should only define collisions for one of these. I'm just going to keep the original paddle like that. And we will have to do that if to check if they both are not equal to left paddle y. Then we will first have to define for this, so I will copy this and then paste it here, and then I will also paste it once again, because we will have to also do that for the second paddle as well. Just paste it here and then add the prefix second. So now if the ball comes in contact with either of the paddles, then it gets simply reflected back, which is actually what we want. Now we will do that for the right hand side paddle as well. First check if the coordinates are the same. If second right paddle y equal to right paddle y, then we can just have this as it is. So press tab and copy this get right around here and check if they both are not equal. Right paddle y, second right paddle y, not equal to right paddle y. Let me just paste it. Come over here and paste it once again. And over here add the prefix second. And then you get to the gadgets and accents section, scroll down to second pair and check if the left gadget is equal to 2. That is the second gadget if it is being activated. So if, actually elif left gadget equal to 2, then we keep the second left paddle y to be left paddle y plus 200. Now this will lead to the paddle cloning itself to the human eyes, and then we can just simply make left gadget to be 0 and also subtracts 1 from the gadgets remaining. Left gadget remaining minus equal to 1. We will do that for the right hand side as well. Elif right gadget equal to 2. And then we just make the second right paddle y to be right paddle y plus 200, like that, and make right gadget to be 0. Also subtract 1 from the right gadget remaining, like that. Now we will get to the movements as well, and over here we will define for the second paddles, second left paddle y plus equal to second left paddle well, followed by second right paddle y plus equal to second right paddle bell, like that. You will have to draw that over here, so I will create another section, second paddle, and I will copy both the paddles, this, and paste it over here, and then just change this to the prefix second. Also, I forgot to mention one thing. When you get to the input section, that is here, we also have to make sure that when no key is being pressed, then the second velocities, that is the second paddle velocity, should also be 0. 0 followed by second right paddle velocity be 0 as well. Now let's run our code and see if the second paddle is appearing on the screen when we activate the gadget. So first let's type in 2. And we see that now we have only one paddle, but when you press the left arrow key or the A key, then the second gadget will be activated, and if second gadget is activated, then we should see the paddle cloning, like that. We do. Nice. So right around here, when you activate the gadget like this, and if the game resets, originally we just want the game to reset with the paddles as well, but that is not happening in this case because we haven't defined it to. We will have to make sure that once the game resets, the paddles also reset to its original position. So the way we do this is by going to the Bolt movement control section, and over here, once the game resets every time, what we do is add in 2 lines over here. That is, the second left paddle y will be left paddle y, that is resetting back to the original position. We will do that for the right hand side paddle as well. Second right paddle y will be right paddle y, like that. And then we will do that for the second if as well, that is, if the ball goes off the screen on the left hand side, then again second right paddle y will be right paddle y, and we will do that for the left hand side paddle, second left paddle y equal to left paddle y. Now we should have everything according to our needs. Let's run our code and see. Type in 2. Over here, I will activate my gadget right around now. Over here as well. I'm trying to miss. Actually, I can't miss. And yeah, over here we see that once the game resets, the paddle also reset, which is actually what we want. I will show it to you right here as well. Yep, we get it. Alright, all that is left out is just the scoreboard and the end screen. So in order to calculate the score, first we will get to the initial section, and then I will create two new variables, player 1, comma, actually both will start off at 0, so player 2 will also be equal to 0. Player 1 will be referring to the left hand side player, and player 2 will be referring to the right hand side player. And we scroll down all the way to ball's movement controls, and over here we see that the ball is going off the screen by right hand side. So over here player 1 will get a point, plus equal to 1, because since the ball is going off of the screen from the right hand side, the left hand side player will get the point. Now if you scroll down to the other if condition, over here ball goes off the screen from the left hand side, so player 2 will get a point this time. Player 2 plus equal to 1. So that's how you calculate score. Now how do we write this on the window? So I will scroll all the way down, and over here, before getting to the objects section right around here, after movements, I will create a new section, scoreboard. So first we will need to get a font through which we have to write on the window. Font will be Pygame.system font, the font.sysfont, like that. And then for simplicity, I will just use Calibri, and then we also have to mention the size, which again for simplicity I will be keeping that as 2. I will be keeping that as 32. Now I will create another variable, score, and then I will type in font.render. This is just basically instructing the program to use the font that we just imported and generate the text that I'm just going to type in, which will be player 1, then do this, plus str, I'm just going to make the string of player 1 true, comma, we also have to mention the color. I will just keep white for simplicity. Now we have everything ready, we just have to write this onto our window. How do we do this? We just type in window.blit, we mention what we have to write in, which is the score, and then we also have to mention the positions. So in terms of the x coordinate, I will first keep this to be 25, and in y as well, I'm just going to keep this 25. Now I will just copy this and then paste this once again over here, and then now change this to player 2 over here as well, and then change the x coordinate to around about say 825 and keep y-axis as it is. Now we will quickly run our code and see. Gadget power to be 2. And yes, it works. We see player 1 scores 1 and player 2 scores 1 as well. Nice. Now we will also have to do that to mention the number of gadgets remaining. So what I will do is, first let's just name this to be score 1 and score 2. And then what I will do is, I will create another new variable, gadget left 1. And similarly, actually just have to change it over here as well. And here will again be font.render. Let's type in gadget left, put a space, plus, then make the str and left gadget remaining true, followed by the color, which I will have this as white, like that, and we will type in window.blit, gadget left 1. The positions this time will be 25, 65. We are just off placing it a little bit in terms of the y coordinate. I will just copy this and paste it here, make this to be gadget left 2, and then make this right gadget remaining, and this to be 825. So now let's just run our code and see if gadgets is being shown. Let's type in 2, and we see the number of gadgets left is 5 and the scoreboard is also ticking. Nice. Okay, so all that is left out now is the end screen. So let's scroll all the way down and create the section over here. And inside this, first we will create the winning font, which is just the same thing, but then I will keep the size to be 100. And then now I will check if either of the players are greater than 3 points. This is the winning cap. This is the winning limit. You can have whatever number you want, but just for simplicity, to show you that the end screen element is actually working, I'm just going to keep it at 3 so that the end screen will be, so that the game would end faster. Greater than or equal to 3. And what we do first is fill the window by using the window.fill statement with the black color. And then we will type in the end screen variable to be font.render, actually winning font.render. And then say player 1, 1. Keep the anti-alias to be true. And then mention the color. I will keep this to be white, which we already find. And then blit this onto our window. Window.blit. End screen. Mention the coordinates. I'm just going to keep it to be 200 in terms of x and 250 in terms of y, let's say, and see if this is working. I will also do this for the player 2 as well. Just copy this, paste it right around here, and change this to player 2. Like that. Now let's run our code and see if it's working. Enter the gadget choice to be 1. Go over here. Right, as player 2 gets 3 points, it displays that player 2 won the game. Really nice.